4:26. Michael Wallace will be back in here with Drive Time coming up at the bottom of the hour. This was my final broadcast on WCBS. For nearly 2 decades, it's been my honor, my pleasure, to bring you the news of the day here on WCBS. We've shared some big stories through the years, haven't we? There have been blackouts, 9/11, when my friend Tom Kaminski told the world that something has happened at the World Trade Center. There was Superstorm Sandy that night when much of the area was without power and other radio stations went off the air, but somehow we stayed on and we informed and comforted you during that scary storm. Like my colleagues here, I've been overwhelmed by your kind emails and social media posts and phone calls. Here at WCBS, we think of ourselves as family. I mean, we are. We've watched children grow into newborns and young adults with kids of their own. We are family. It's been amazing. But you are our family, too, and you have graciously invited us into your homes and cars for 57 years. That will end on August 26th. What's next for me? Well, I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. My wife, Jean, and I are leaving tomorrow morning for Mexico to celebrate our 30th anniversary. I'll leave you with the words of one of my journalism idols, Edward R. Murrow. Good night and good luck. And for the final time, I'm Steve Scott, WCBS 880 News.
Steve, I want you to have the best week of vacation that you possibly can, and we will all talk again when you get back. And temperatures for tonight are going to be down to 68 to 74 degrees under a mostly cloudy sky, more humidity. This weekend will not be the best of beach weathers, but it's not going to be raining the entire time. A chance of a shower or two on Saturday. Sunday has a better chance of showers or thunderstorms. It will be a muggy week and a high right around 80 degrees. Keep in mind, rough surf, rip currents at the ocean beaches. Steve, your gem. 83 degrees right now, humidity 52%.
Thank you, Craig.
It's RWJ Barnabas Health Mets Game Night on WCBS 880.
Mets and Marlins tonight. First pitch 7:10 at Citi Field. Our pregame coming up in just a few minutes at 6:30. Well, before we get to money news tonight and traffic and weather and, of course, the Mets pregame, I just wanted to say to everybody, thank you. These are my last few minutes here on WCBS 880. The station, of course, will be on for another week, but I already had a vacation planned for next week so I can move 2 of my kids into their college dorms, and then after that, I'll have to take some time to figure out a new way to pay for those colleges. By the way, this was also the last day at work for my daughter as a summer camp counselor before she begins college, and we were commiserating this morning that today's the last day of work for both of us. So without my wife, Lori, and my kids, I don't know if I get through this. So thank you guys if you're listening. I would hope so. I also want to thank, of course, you, the listener. Like so many colleagues here, and you've heard some of them say it already the last few days, we have had so many listeners reach out on social media or email saying how upset you are that we'll be leaving the air, how we've been so important to you. We already knew we had a strong legion of listeners, but to see the messages from so many of you has really been heartwarming this week. Many of you have told us it's like you're losing a family member. Believe us, we feel the same. We're all going through the stages of grief, just at different speeds, I guess. Shock, denial, anger. Some of you are so angry I couldn't share your profanity-laced comments on the air. There's also the stage of depression, and eventually we all reach acceptance. I have worked in a lot of radio newsrooms over the last 33 years, all over the country. Upstate New York, Houston, Orlando. The longest I stayed at any of them was 5 years. And they were all great in their own ways, but this one was special, with special people and special listeners. I've been here 19 years. I'd hope to retire here in another, 10, 15 years. Alas, that's not going to happen. I have no idea what the future holds for me or a lot of my peers here, but it has been an honor and a privilege to have you invite us into your homes, your cars, your ears, wherever they were. It's a responsibility that we never took lightly, and I hope along the way we made you laugh a few times as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with wherever you find your news next. Another good day on Wall Street. At least the 401k is looking pretty good as we head out the door. Here's money news. Crunching the Numbers, sponsored by Eisner Amper. At Bloomberg, it's Erica Herskowitz. 6:28 at WCBS on Mets Game Night. Traffic and weather together, and for the last time, I toss to my friend Andre Ferro.
It's been great working with you, Mike. Nothing short of amazing. If you're traveling on the Brooklyn Bridge trying to get back to Manhattan, they're actually holding traffic right now. There's some police activity going on, and that's making the delays really bad now on the inbound Gowanus from 39th Street up to the Brooklyn Bridge, and the westbound BQE is feeling the brunt of this as well, passing exit 32. Now, the Manhattan Bridge is picking up a lot of extra volume back over to Queens, where you're heading towards Citi Field right now, and seeing delays heading towards the ballpark all the way back to the mid-span area of the Whitestone Bridge and the southbound Whitestone Expressway. Eastbound delays continue on the Grand Central Parkway in front of Citi Field. And if you're traveling over the Triborough trying to get to the ballpark, you're going to be very slow trying to get towards Ditmars Boulevard and Astoria Boulevard and heading towards Steinway Street. Eastbound delays on the BQE heading up towards Queens Boulevard. Still seeing big delays on the westbound Northern, LIE, and even the Southern State Parkway trying to get to the Cross Island Parkway. Andre Ferro, WCBS Traffic Center.
80-degree evening at Citi Field right now. It's 82. The dew points all around the region are in the mid to upper 60s. Definitely more humid for tonight and right through the weekend. And tonight's low 68 to 74. Tomorrow's high 80 to 85 with a chance of a shower or two. Could be a shower or two Saturday night as well, and a shower or thunderstorm at just about any time on Sunday with highs up near 80 degrees. Again, 80 in the city, humidity 59%.
Thank you, Craig Allen. I'm going to call you every morning for a weather forecast, all right?
You be my guest.
Won't be annoying at all. Thanks, everybody. See you in the next life.
You've been listening to RWJ Barnabas Health Mets Game Night on WCBS 880. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. Visit rwjbh.org.
Well, you hear this? This is paper. Remember I told you I wanted to say my goodbye, and Sunday I was on the couch and feeling a little sorry for myself, and I said, I thought it. And I went into my computer in the bedroom, sit down there, and banged out the script. I have it on paper in front of me because I was wondering about how I get through it to say my goodbye.
All right. Well, Paul, I am really interested in hearing what you have to say.
I hinted at a little bit of it earlier, that I'm here because of Art Athens and Lou Adler and Rob Sunday. I had a chance to work with all of those men. Art Athens was away from WCBS for a while. And
Who did you work with on Monday? You worked with Rob on Sunday. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet now.
You can't resist.
I'll be quiet now.
So Art Athens needed a student intern. I came in. Almost immediately, he gave me a job. He hired me to work in the overnight shift in the newsroom. And then later, when I was a freelancer at 1010 Wins, Lou Adler and Rob Sunday were there. And I run into Tim Sheldon, a story. He says, hey, I'm going over to ABC. You should apply. And so Lou Adler, I remember saying specifically, you want me to make a call? Oh, yeah. Yeah, ABC. And I remember he said, do you want me to make a call? I said, sure. And so I sent my tape and resume, as I remember, on a Monday, had a meeting on maybe a Thursday, and Friday morning I got the call, would you like to come to work for WCBS? So that was, as I said, 29 years and 8 months and 22 days and 9 minutes and 53 minutes and 39 seconds ago.
Yeah, the accountants are counting too, Paul.
My coworkers and I have been so overwhelmed with your kind regards. From our WCBS listeners, we all agree the hard part will be breaking the habit of punching the 880 news button. It's sad, it's a shame. We carry wonderful memories. I don't have a great answer to the question we're hearing. Well, where's the news going? What do you mean? Where is that? I don't know. The format is gone, and the world is changing so fast. At the end, all I can say is thank you and goodbye. And that's it from me.
Paul, thank you. You are a gem. I love you. We're going to stay friends long after this thing wraps up. And now you're getting me all misty-eyed over here.
See, I finally did it. It took 8 years of working with you to get a little smoky eye over there.
Yeah, up until now, it was just your breath.
It's been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure, Craig Allen.
Oh, has it ever to you and to everybody that has listened.
Thank you very much. My last time saying this, make way for Levon Putney. I am Anita Bonita. We love you. Goodbye.
Reporting live for the last time, Sean Adams, WCBS 880 News.
Sean, thank you. We'll miss your voice. That's for sure. WCBS News Time 7:37. We'll get an update on traffic and weather together next. It'll be the last live report from Chopper 880 for Tom Kaminski. Stay tuned. WCBS News Time 7:38. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 8th, sponsored by Macy's, and in many of the lasts here on WCBS 880. This is the final live report from Chopper 880. Tom Kaminski.
And Tanya, I'm going to be continuing this morning on the ground from the traffic center until 11:28. But my first live report from Chopper 880, or Chopper 88, as it was called then, was on the 30th of November, 1988. My last live report here comes right now. The great Neil Bush was once asked in an interview what it's like to fly over New York City and this area every day, and he had a one-word description: paradise. And that's all I can add. I can't add anything more than that. So I thank you all for always having my back. I want to thank all of the pilots, the mechanics that we've had over the years that have kept me safe here in Chopper 880. My life has literally been in the hands of you guys, and I really appreciate it very much. Let's go back over to the GWB. It is at least a 90-minute wait from 8095 ramp from the GWB onto the Cross Bronx eastbound. That ramp is still shut down. Flatbed tracks, trailers, 3 generators that had fallen off of that truck. They are still in the process of being cleared. Lincoln is at about 15, Holland at about 20. That's going to be much better for you. Southern State, westbound side, all lanes are now open at Deer Park Avenue. A collision right in the area of Belmont Lake State Park has now been cleared. For the last time, I'm Tom Kaminski in WCBS Chopper 880.
WCBS News Time 11:28. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 8s. And one more time, Tom Kaminski. Tom, it has been a pleasure to work with you.
Suzanne, it's been a pleasure to work with you as well, and let's take care of this business first that we have, and then I do have a couple of parting words here. The eastbound side of Route 78, we still have some police activity out in the Tewksbury area, right around exit 24. We've still got at least one lane blocked, so Route 22, it's going to be your alternate there. Southbound eastern spur of the Turnpike at 15E. We had a stalled truck. We had one lane closed there. Midday road work in place in Nassau on the LIE, getting in through Glen Cove Road, in through Willis Avenue, and on the northern state between Meadowbrook Parkway and Lakeville Road. We also still have that suspension on the Long Island Railroad on the Port Jefferson branch. Between Port Jefferson and Huntington, there is a broken rail west of Stony Brook. This is my final traffic report on WCBS News Radio 880. I came to WCBS in September of 1988. You and I have been through a lot together, nearly 36 years, side by side, in your car, in your truck, whatever you're driving, maybe in a taxi, maybe at home getting ready for work, maybe on the way back after a really long day. All I could say is thank you. It's been a privilege to try to get you from point A to point B as quickly as possible. I have never taken that responsibility lightly. I've never taken that privilege for granted, and I'm grateful for every minute that we've spent together. And if I've helped you avoid a traffic jam, if I've made you laugh, maybe I made you smile with a surprise Springsteen reference during my reports, and if I made your commute a little bit more bearable, then this Jersey guy has done his job well. Please stay safe. Please be kind to each other. And as Bruce Springsteen sang, I'll meet you further on up the road. Easy does it. For the final time, I'm Tom Kaminski in the WCBS Traffic Center.
WCBS News Time 4:22. Up until today, I would have told you that my love for this singular radio station began on the night of the Great Blackout, July 13, 1977. But I awoke this morning with a realization that it goes back even farther, at least back to election night 1960, as a 7-year-old being amazed by the great CBS News team, Cronkite, Edwards, Collingwood, Eric Severide, who later became my ultimate hero in journalism, and one guy on there who even predated World War II at CBS, Robert Trout. It wasn't long before I discovered CBS radio news, and if my parents and I went anywhere around Pittsburgh on a Saturday or Sunday, I kind of insisted in the car that we tune in to hear, as the announcer intoned it, Chevrolet brings you Robert Trout 9 times each weekend on CBS radio. Yeah, I was about 8 years old. So on the night of July 13, 1977, when I was first living in Cleveland and working my first big market radio job, I just happened to be visiting friends who lived out about 25 miles west of town. Coming home, hearing about the blackout, it was only natural for me to dial into WCBS, which came blaring in like a local station. Driving through cornfields, literally cornfields in North Royalton, Ohio, I found myself absolutely stunned by the WCBS News team. And what a team, improvising so skillfully through the New York story of the decade. Like my friend, well, he's my friend now, Don Swaim, who walked down from his apartment 14 flights, got in his car, and drove around in the darkness with, of course, all the traffic lights out, and stopping at payphones along the way to go live on air. At least the phones were still working. And he was one of many. This was the local New York version, the extension of what Ed Murrow built during and after World War II. And in fact, every evening for years, he was on WCBS for 15 minutes at 7:45 p.m. Driving through those cornfields, I was swept up by this sound of New York, and from that moment, I knew I wanted to be a part of WCBS. 12 years later, as the business guy from Business Week, my other great professional home, I became a part of WCBS, and now, 35 years on from that moment, I think it may be my greatest professional honor to be one of the last news anchors on the last week and the last day of this local news version of what Murrow built, the greatest local radio news operation there ever was, News 88. And now at 4:25 on WCBS, it's time for Money News. And so at 4:28... here's my last traffic and weather together. Now, you might remember how Pat Farnack, who anchored middays here for years, would end her Friday shift at 1:58 p.m. by saying, "Take me home, please, Chris Majette." So what better last words from me on this radio station than "Take me home back to Maryland, please, Malibu Sue."
Well, I want to tell you as well that Rick from Rockland County has called to tell us that he will hold us in his heart all of the time. He wants to be sure this gets to myself, Ray, you, and Craig Allen, and everybody else. He says he loves us, guys. And over to Connecticut, where we have a disabled that takes out the left lane on 95 southbound in Westport, just slowing people down just past the Sherwood Island connector. They are still working to clear a vehicle fire from the New Jersey Turnpike's eastern spur over at the Alexander Hamilton service area, and we have a collision on the Garden State Parkway southbound just before exit 144 that knocks out the left lane, and then further south on the Parkway we have another crash taking out the right lane just past exit 143. A disabled bus blocks the center lane northbound on West Street approaching Canal, and we have delays over on the Whitestone Expressway getting to the Bronx-bound Whitestone Bridge. That will clear up because they cleared the disabled that is causing that. It's Malibu Sue in the WCBS Traffic Center. Thanks, Ray.
Yes, thank you, Ray. You better believe it, Ray. It is nice and quiet and calm weather-wise all the way down 95 to Maryland. It is going to be wonderful for the evening hours and a pretty good weekend for all of us as well. It is clear for tonight, mid-60s, near 60 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 80 to 85. And Sunday, sunny much of the day, warm, more humid. Highs will be in the middle 80s. The next chance of a shower or thunderstorm around here is not until Monday. Ray, my pleasure. All the best to you, and like I said, we'll keep talking. 80 degrees right now, humidity 31%.
And just want to say again, all the people that are calling and letting us know how they feel and how sad they are about the station going off the air. Pete in Park Ridge, Janice, Teresa, David in Norwalk, thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you want to call and say goodbye, we're at 212-975-8888. And thank you for listening. I'm Malibu Sue in the WCBS Traffic Center.
All right, so right now we have clear skies. I'm glad it's a nice, simple forecast. It'll give me an extra couple seconds to talk here. Clear sky for tonight. It'll be in the mid-60s, near 60 inland, and a great weekend, basically. Mostly sunny on Saturday. Highs between 80 and 85, a little more humid on Sunday with high temperatures in the middle 80s, and the next chance of a shower or a thunderstorm is on Monday. And as I'm giving you this forecast, I can actually hear Jim Morrison singing right now from the doors. This is the end, my friend, because it really is. Sunset is at 7:41, but it's setting right now on the WCBS Weather Center, as we've all known it. The sign on my office door is always going to be there. It says, Weather Center, WCBS Weather Center, because that you can't forget. But just thanks to all of the best colleagues in the world, and I will see you at our already planned reunions. Yep, we've already started working on those. And the love that I felt from the listeners for, that's been the driving force behind wanting to do this for so many years. I'm glad I was able to help you. And as Malibu Sue has been saying, and you and everybody over the last few days, the letters and the outpouring of love is just beyond belief, Ashok. It really, really is. And I just can't say enough, of thanks for all the time that you've given us here at WCBS News Radio 880. 88, the way I remember it.
Oh, yeah. It's been an honor and a privilege sharing these airwaves with you, the best in the biz. WCBS Chief Meteorologist Craig Allen. 6:58, traffic and weather together, Malibu Sue.
Don't use the Whitestone to get to Queens. It's a mess. And there's the usual shenanigans on the BQE. Forget about it. And thank you for all the calls and sentiments. Thank you for listening. Here I am in the WCBS Traffic Center for the last time. I'm Malibu Sue. I'll see you in the next world. Don't be late.
WCBS News Time, 8:53 here on Nightside. A tradition, an institution, and a standard bearer for news, specifically radio news, is disappearing. And that is a shame. Now, that was a quote from retired Associated Press reporter Skip Foreman, who's listened to the station over the years, referring to WCBS 880. And we're thankful for all the support over the years and for over the last 2 weeks after finding out our fate. It has been an absolute honor to serve. And make no mistake, news journalism is a public service. Knowing what is going on around us, that's a key to a functioning democracy, and it's our duty, all of us, to appreciate this public service. The end of 880 as we know it is a reflection on the state of news in this world these days, and losing all these stations and newspapers for understandable reasons on all ends can, however, one day lead to us all realizing that we the people, will be unable to maintain our drive for a more perfect union. Here at 8:54, let's go ahead and dive into Bloomberg Money News here on WCBS. Now, as far as the forecast, tonight's a beauty out there for the next few nights, actually bottoming out to about 66 degrees in Midtown Manhattan, and we are looking at 50s in the outlying suburbs. Now, for tomorrow, high around 83 degrees, sunshine much of the time, and then for Saturday night and the Sunday, lows 67 degrees, and then Sunday, well, a bit more humidity in the air with some sunshine, they say, with a high around 85, and then once we get back to the work week, partly sunny skies, still a bit humid out there. They said an afternoon thunderstorm possible with Monday's high around 83. And then into Tuesday we go with the humidity sticking around. Mix of clouds and sun in the sky. Slight chance of a shower on Tuesday with a high of 81. For now, we're looking at 68 degrees in White Plains. Sounds like a nice to be out partying tonight. 68 in Danbury. 79 degrees still at Newark Liberty Airport. White Plains, 68 degrees. And over there in Queens, 12-mile-an-hour winds, 76 degrees at LaGuardia. Right now, just want to thank listeners one more time here for sticking with us all these years. It's going to be a sad one not being around, but at the same time, we're nothing but thankful for having you all for 57 years. Thanks a lot. I'm Levon Putney.
Wow.
Yeah, just so amazing. I think of one sound with this radio station, and this may have been what made it to me sound so important. You sat up, you paid attention, because when you heard that, you knew this is the news, this is something you need to know, and that was such a defining sound, and I'm so glad it's playing in my headphones now, and I had a chance in my years here to talk over that wonderful production.
Paul Murnane has been an experience working with you.
Thank you. How kind.
A wonderful experience working with you.
I feel the same.
And lose my address.
I am blocking you now on social media and blocking you on my cell phone. I think that speaks to the fun we have had. It's kind of a bro culture that goes on in these studios, and the last couple of years that I have had in this business, as I said earlier, as the resources, frankly, have been shrinking, as it has been kind of seemingly harder to do what we do, I felt more comfortable. I have felt more confident. And also that is not just because of the reality of the business, Wayne. It's because I've had a chance to work with you in this anchor chair now for 8 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And can we just get a little out there from all the people who are assembled and holding up their phones?
Yeah.
A little round of applause for all of us.
Doesn't that tell you? Doesn't that sound tell you about the community of WCBS? These are all current and former employees in the room. It's wonderful.
Nat Rosen said, "We'll miss the news and objective insights. We'll miss your dulcet tones and acerbic wit." He's talking to both of us, Paul. Relax. Miss your...
I was going to say, where's my credit?
Miss your familiar and friendly voice, softening the often harsh news of the day. Most of all, I'll miss my daily dose of Wayne and Murnane in the morning. Hey, why didn't we think of calling ourselves Wayne and Murnane in the morning?
I think the marketing people are in for another day or so. We should send a memo.
Now, Nat says he will listen to our Odyssey cousins at 1010 Wins, but it just won't be the same, he says. Thanks for all that you did. All the best to you, and glad you got a bunch of paid time off before the axe fell. Well, that's true. Yeah.
What can we say here at the end, but thank you so much. Thank you, WCBS, current and past employees. Thank you for Odyssey for having the trust in us to say goodbye as we have been.
And one last time, we're going to let this play in the clear as we say, see you next time.
When you need to know why, when it matters most. This is WCBS 880 News.
Okay, everybody, on three, we're going to give the legal ID. 1, 2, 3.
WCBS New York.
I love it. I love it that we're doing different versions of it. Fantastic.
Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Oh, boy. It's Wayne Cabot as we say goodbye. This is it. We're just minutes away. And I want to take these last few minutes to be quiet, which is something Paul Murnane has wished for a very long time. Paul, you will get your wish for the next few minutes as I play the sounds of WCBS through the years. You ready? 1960s, the headline sound. CBS Network Alert. 1970s, the chopper. Headline stories. WCBS Bulletin. WCBS Special. News 88 Business. News 88 Update. Here's everyone's favorite. We never should have stopped playing these. We should have kept paying Steve Carman as much as he wanted. Everyone remembers and loves Muse Is. From the guy who composed so many great themes, we'll start with the real big one. Yeah, he was the guy behind I Love New York. When you say Budweiser, you've said it all. Sooner or later, you'll own Generals. Trust the Midas touch. And have you ever heard the jingle, Nationwide is on your side? And here's what my friend, Steve Carman, did for us. 1979.
What does peace of mind look like?
Well, for me, it's knowing the car dealer I trust has been around since 2005. They live, work, and know my community. Now, with their 60-day buyer's assurance guarantee, I get unmatched protection after the sale. Plus, they work with over 20 different financial lenders to get me approved. Now, that's peace of mind.
Auction Direct USA, your used vehicle superstore.
Auction Direct.
In Raleigh at 7601 Glenwood Avenue or auctiondirectusa.com.
Cars you can count on.
At Miller Mott College, you can build the skills to prepare for new careers in 18 months or less. Visit us in person at 3901 Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh, North Carolina, or online at miller-mott.edu. That's miller-motte.edu.
Baseball is in full swing. NBA playoffs are heating up, and your NFL team is gearing up for training camp. Listen to the latest on the teams you love here on the Odyssey app. The biggest sports radio stations in the country, providing unrivaled local coverage of their teams, all in one place. Exclusive interviews with players, coaches, and team executives, streaming live and always available on demand. Stay in the know with your favorite teams right here on the Odyssey app.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. For over 3 decades, Cordell & Cordell has been on the front lines of family law. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Raleigh attorneys. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. CordellCordell.com.
Get your laugh on with me, Chris Jericho, and the Talk is Jericho podcast. We've got Guns N' Roses Hall of Famer Duff McKagan and his joke of the week every Friday, plus regular visits from the hilarious Brad Williams and special appearances by everyone from Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias, Mark Maron, Dennis Miller, Cheech Marin, Kevin Nealon. If they're funny, they're on Talk is Jericho. So listen to and follow Talk is Jericho now on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The 2000s, this just in. Network rejoin.
Live from the CBS Hudson Square Broadcast Center in Manhattan, we are News Radio, WCBS HD and WCBS FM HD2, New York.
Traffic time.
This just in to the WCBS newsroom.
Now, CBS Top of the Hour, 60s to today.
This program for a CBS Radio Net Alert Bulletin.
The Chirp. CBS Radio Special Report. CBS Radio Sports.
This is Win Elliott for CBS Radio Sports Central USA. Every referee signal on a playing field has a special meaning, and now on CBS Radio, we've got a new set of signals that means great listening on this station. Our sports signature sounds like this. begins My Sports Central USA. This is Douglas Edwards. CBS News on the Hour is the sound of news in the making. And this sound introduces our comprehensive news coverage. Distinctively CBS Radio, signaling CBS News. Listen for the signature. And you'll be listening to CBS News on CBS Radio, where what you want to know comes first.
Good morning. This is Steve Porter welcoming you to WCBS News Radio 88.
Good morning. This is Charles Osgood, News Radio 88.
Tune to the best news source around, WCBS News Radio 88. Local and regional developments coming right up. This is Bill Fayen. It's 5 minutes past 4 o'clock.
Temperature 34 degrees, the winds east-southeast at 10 to 18 miles per hour.
You know him, don't you? That's Bob Harris.
Do you know me? Many people in the West Village.
News 88 WCBS in New York, 27th of November, a Monday, 36 degrees, 5:30.
The news on us, headlines. A lot of snow on us today. Season's first snarls traffic.
More tones will follow. The final loudest one marks the exact time.
We've been marking time for a lifetime, and now it's over.
It's midnight.
The power of that amazing signal there, 50,000 watts pulsating out, will continue as these names go away. We take these last minutes to celebrate our relationship, yours and mine, and Paul's, and Bridget's, and Michael, and Steve, and Tanya, and Levon, and on, to Pat's, Parson, Farnack, Carol, Jeff Kaplan, Deborah Rodriguez, Gary Moore, Ben Farnsworth, Jim Donnelly, Lou Adler, Charles Osgood, Steve Porter, Harvey Hoffman, Rita Sands, Tom Franklin, Bill Fayen, Bob Glenn, John Wydra, Palmer Payne, Alan Shaw, Ralph Howard, Greg Baker, Bob Gibson, Jack Welby, Harley Carnes, Therese Crowley, Vicki Allen, John Metaxas, Jim Taylor, John Miller, John Lesher, Joe Avalar, Anita Bonita, Kathy Carpin, B.J. Fennell, I remember you, B.J., Mitch Levy, nicest guy in the world, Mike Sugarman, Janice Wright, Steve Knight, Karen Riegel, Mary Alice Williams, Ed Crane, Maria Garcia, Cameron Swayze, Bud Mishkin, Suzanne Colucci, Ashok Bala, Bill Whitney, Dick Reeves, Rich Lamb, Peter Haskell, Marla Diamond, Sean Adams, Fran Schneido, Alex Silverman, Ellen Mitchell, Sophia Hall, Mac Rosenberg, Mike Ziranex, Bob Vosberg, Jeff Grant, Lisa Fantino, Frank Cipolla, Doug Spiro, Darlene Pamales, Linda Zoman, Steve Malave, Mike Smeltz, Sean Colthard, a.k.a. Michael Cole, Catherine Chaffee, Bob Brown, Eric Scott, Gordon Deal, Kelly Waldron, Jim Incendio, Jerry Knackman, Jane Tillman Irving, Mary Gay Taylor, Fred Fishkin, Walt Wheeler, Ed Bradley, Tim Sheld, and the renowned reporters for whom awards are named and still handed out. Art Athens, Steve Flanders, Edward R. Murrow, Lou Timolot, Tom Salat, Terry Raskin, Joe Nolan, Chris Majette, Jim Feldman, Andre Farrow, Tom O'Hanlon, Russ Meyer, Lori Jordan, Lou Adams, Debbie Mazzella, Neil Bush, Tom Kaminski, Dr. Just Plain Bob Harris, Norm MacDonald, Bill Corbell, Gordon Barnes, Todd Glickman, Craig Allen, Brad Heller, Jared Max, Gordon Damer, Kevin Burkhart, Kevin Connors, Bill Daughtry, Bill Schweitzer, Rich Ackerman, Howie Carpin, Tommy Tye, Todd Ant, Gary Stanley, Howard Cannon, Spencer Ross, Barry Landers, Howie Rose, Len Berman, Pat Summerall, Ed Ingalls, Gordon Williams, Ray Hoffman, Dean Shepard, Ken Pruitt, Joe Connolly, the CBS Radio Network and its legions of correspondents, reporters, anchors, and commentators. Harry Reisner, Dan Rather, Walter Cronkite. The Osgood File. Now, what I did there was probably a huge mistake, because these are the people just off the top of my head. If I forgot you, I didn't forget you. This is all just happening so fast. But a special nod to one man who was a producer, a writer, reporter, and anchor over the years, and who had, and has, CBS in his blood, who maintains the most thorough and loving website of WCBS News Radio, and that's a man I'm proud to call my friend, Don Swaim. And thanks to all of his contributors, most notably John Landers, on the WCBS News Radio 88 Appreciation site. Go to it. It's amazing. Now, if we had hours, not just minutes left, we would name all the people you've never heard on the air, except in the credits, supporting those of us on the air and supporting journalism. The legions of people behind the scenes writing, producing, engineering are an innumerable and invaluable part of our history. Wicked smart people showing up at all hours, weekends, Thanksgiving, Christmas, so that whenever you turned on 880, you were closer to your world. The WCBS passion and pride spilled into a sales force that revered these call letters and the CBS legacy every bit as much as you and I do. Advocates for our craft who showed advertisers how we, the audience, are smart, discerning, engaging, and caring. Caring. We have given our advertising dollars and our charitable dollars through so many hungerthons, for example. You held us to a high standard and let us know when we didn't hit the mark. All of us here knew that our audience is engaged and smart, and we knew to treat our audience with the respect that a well-informed, well-educated news consumer deserves. That's right, deserves. Our news desert is getting bigger and drier. And just like we should get a second medical opinion, we need to seek out more and more varied news sources that we trust, because getting your information without the bias and brainwashing in one place has given way to a fight to stay informed. With each closing newspaper, radio newsroom, TV newsroom, magazine, and now even digital news operations, the country we love is diminished. So as we leave the news ecosystem after 57 years of all news and 100 years of service on New York radio, we implore you to find that next trusted source. Use it, support it, in word and deed. It is the most patriotic thing you can do, and the most satisfying. To paraphrase a CBS News legend, good night and good luck. You will ask, why does this radio station mean so much? Why is the reaction the way it is? And I really can't speak for others. I can speak for myself. My parents split when I was 11. We split Christmas, and when I was at Dad's house, he gave me a clock. And this one had a beam at the top that shined the time onto the ceiling. I wanted to make sure it was set correctly, so I went to the station I heard in the back of the car, WCBS, to make sure the time was exactly right. And I listened and listened, and before long, I became hooked as a 12, 13-year-old. When I was 14, my dad drove me to the radio station in New York City during morning rush hour traffic, and he introduced me to the place I'm now signing off in 2024. Ray Martell, here's your last request. Chris Olivero, Ben Meverek, Ivan Lee, our bosses pushed for and got the authority to let us have our goodbyes, to have a last show. That's something very rare. I thank them for that. And I thank my dad for driving me into New York City in 1978. Parents, you never know what impact these random acts of love and attention may have on your children. I'm Wayne Cabot, and for the final time, this is WCBS, New York.